G'day playmates, and welcome to the third episode in the DCS Spitfire series. And as promised, this is a landing tutorial. It's been a while between doing the takeoff and the landing, because the landing has caused me massive headaches. I've looked at a lot of videos, I've looked at a lot of information, but essentially the thing that's been the biggest problem for me is I've been able to get a good approach, I've been able to get a good touchdown, but the problem is then all of a sudden the right wingtip decides to dip and drag along the runway. I think I've found the main cause of this, and I think that I have actually been able to fix that up, and that's been mainly by not taking a number of people's advice, which is chopping the throttle right on the threshold. Okay, so I'm going to get into landing mode here. The first thing is I'm going to pull my RPMs back to around about 2600. Then I'm going to pull my speed down to about 160. We're going to land back at Batumi, which is just over there to my 10 o'clock. Also, notice that I've got 4 pounds of brakes on as well. This allows me not to worry about the brakes on landing. I don't have to worry about putting them on, putting them off. The spit will roll quite nicely to a halt. Okay, alright, I'm losing a bit of speed here. I'm at 140, things are getting a bit sloppy. Let's go back up to 160. Okay, and I'm trying to trim this pretty much straight and level for 160. Some people prefer a curved approach, but to be honest, I actually prefer a straight-in approach. I like to use plenty of runway, because the spit, once it touches down, won't take much rolling to stop. Gotta keep an eye on the speed here. So I like to come in fairly high. I like to come in straight in, and I like to get fairly well past the threshold. This is what works for me. You may have to experiment a little bit. So brakes are still at 4 pounds. They're going to stay there. It means I'm not going to have to worry about braking. Okay, put the gear down. Nose will dip slightly as the gear comes down, and so will the speed. Will sort of compensate for that. And what I'm aiming for is to get the centered dot of the pipper on the black skid part of the runway. We're gaining a little bit of speed here. Okay, I'll bring up the DCS matrix on the bottom left. Okay, all right. I'm going to drop the flaps now. Again, this is going to drop the nose and some speed, so I'll need to essentially compensate for that. All right, I'm going to try and keep the speed around about 140. Small inputs, obviously, especially with the throttle. I don't want to be chopping it or moving it. Okay, a little bit slow. Just get a bit more speed up. Flying it into the runway. Slowly bringing the throttle back, not chopping it. Still got plenty of runway. Still got plenty of runway. And I'm down. And I got the stick full back. Okay, flaps up. And I'm going to head to taxi. That's the distance we've taken on the runway. Okay, so the other changes that I've also made, just to quickly go through, brakes at 4 pounds, so as we don't have to worry about playing around with the brakes once we land. Setting up for a straight trim, as you can see there, and also I have altered my controls on the axes. Let's go to axes commands. Okay, pitch. And this is basically, I've tuned the axis. This is what I've gone for. I've gone for a 10 dead zone, 100 saturation, and a 10 curvature. And I've done that for all my axes except the rudder. And I've gone for a 5 dead zone on the rudder. Okay, well, it's taken me a while. It's taken me a lot of frustrating landings, but I've finally nailed it. Hope this helps you. Until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.